Yep, the car that I was telling you guys about that was supposedly bulletproof, it's broken. So let me explain to you guys why my E55 is broken. I was driving actually today in a parking lot. I had it parked for, I don't know, probably 10 minutes. And normally the needle for the temperature gauge sits just above 80 degrees Celsius. Well, I was sitting there watching the needle slowly creep up, and sometimes it gets to about the 3/4 way, and then it'll back down, and that's all fine. But I just noticed it start to doot, 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 all the way up to 120 degrees Celsius, and I thought, okay, I gotta shut the car off and open the hood. Shut it off, open the hood, and then I remember thinking, wow, while I was watching the needle creep, I didn't hear my fan go on, and normally I'll hear it, and I'll be honest, lately it's been sounding pretty bad. I know that I had a feeling that something was wrong with the fan, but I hadn't really investigated. Well, this is the fan that I'm talking about. So on these W210 Mercedes, this chassis, they have this electronic auxiliary fan on the outside that I'm not actually 100% sure when it kicks on, but in any case, it's supposed to turn on at a certain point, and this is the main electric motor here. This fan will spin, and it actually has a belt behind the assembly that drives this second fan. Well, when I turn this, well, first of all, that's not turning. And the other thing we notice is, yeah, that doesn't sound very good, and it's actually hard to turn. And I'll show you, I actually bought a used fan. I'll show you how that one looks and feels. So this is the used fan that I purchased. Got it from Gresham Auto Wrecking. I have a friend who actually works there, so it worked out. They have two W210 E55s there. And actually the fan that I pulled from was off of a E430, but it's the same assembly. But as you can see here, it's the same, it has the electric motor on this side and then this slave fan on this side. When I turn this, you can see how that fan is supposed to turn. There is a belt right here, which I'm assuming on that is obviously broken. And turn it back around. Also notice how freely that spins. That was not the case over there with the original fan. So when I go like that, I think it's pretty clear that that auxiliary fan is bad. I'm not 100% sure that that's going to cure the overheating issue, but I have a really good feeling that that's probably the issue. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start digging into this. I'm just going to run a time lapse, make things a little easier. Okay, so that was actually a pretty easy job. There's a couple of 10mm bolts that hold the top part of the core support out. That comes out. A couple of bolts on here and a couple of bolts on the AC line that goes in front of this, and it pulls right out. Anyway, when I pulled the old unit out, I noticed that this was laying on the ground when I put it over here on the garage. This is obviously the belt that goes from the motor side to the slave side, and yeah, as you can see, it's spinning. This actually spins freely now, but I have a feeling that the reason why it wasn't spinning is because this was bunched up in there, and obviously it was rubbing up against it. So that's out. I'm going to put the new fan in. Once I've done that, I'm going to let the car sit outside and idle for 10 or 20 minutes to see where the temperature gauge sits, and then also see if the fan turns on. Well, that was quite the easy job. Everything's all buttoned up. I'm going to pull the car out, leave it running for a few minutes, see how she does. Okay, so just for reference, oh, hold on. Turn that buddy down. Just for reference, that's where the gauge should be. Let's focus. And earlier today it was all the way up to 120, just before the red, and that's when I shut the car off and let it sit. Went and got the part and came back. Luckily it didn't overheat. But let's see if the fan kicks on. Oh, I can hear it. Hey, look at that. Yeah, it's spinning. That's cool. Well, I've been letting this thing sit on low temperature, full blast. I turned it down for the video. And the temperature hasn't moved from just over 80, which is actually fine. Everything that I've read is typically these sit just above 80. This one looks a little higher than other E-classes that I've had, but I'm not really worried because it was riding up to the 3/4 mark, and then obviously today it rode all the way up to 120. So it's sitting there, and the fan that we just installed is on. It's not going very fast, but it is on. I have a feeling that it probably spools up if it gets even hotter. I mean, right now it says it's only about 82 degrees outside, so not doing too bad. Well guys, my seemingly bulletproof, ultra reliable Mercedes E55 is now not broken and fixed. I would still consider this car bulletproof and reliable, personally, just because, I mean, that was such a small issue. It wasn't, didn't take me too long to repair, and actually didn't even really make the car undrivable. I just couldn't really let it sit and soak in the heat. If it was going down the road, it was just fine. But yeah, it took me about 3 hours to get to the junkyard, come back, and do this whole repair while shooting a video, so that wasn't too bad. I'm actually planning on doing a video after this one on everything that is wrong with this car. I actually, while I was at the junkyard, I picked up a set of basically brand new brake rotors for super cheap off of another E55 that was just pampered but had some front end damage. So scored on those. I actually need to do the front rotors on this anyway, so I'll do another video about that. But yeah, keep the comments coming, guys. Let me know what you want to see. Tires for this thing should be coming in next week, so I'll be doing a burnout video and maybe something else that will tie in with that. And we'll see where it all goes, guys. I appreciate everybody who's watching. Give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down accordingly. And again, just leave your comments down below. I really appreciate it. Hopefully, I'll catch you guys in the next video.